everybody. Welcome. Welcome to all here in the sanctuary and those of you joining us via live stream at home. Shabbat Shalom. I'm pleased to be here tonight with Cantor Wolf, who's going to be leading us in song, and a word of great thanks to our tech team, Liz Keenan, Thomas Burke, and Liv Musumechi. Thank you all so much. So imagine you want to buy something, and instead of having to go to a store, you look at a picture, place an order, and that book you want or that toy or piece of clothing arrives in the mail the next day or a day later. You might think, oh, that's Amazon? Well, this was the Sears catalog all those years ago. If you're a certain age, remember that thick Sears catalog that we ordered all kinds of things from. And the point is, in terms of what this has to do with Shabbat, is that on one hand, we see how far we've come, but on the other hand, some things are still the same. And Shabbat is a time for us to look back on our achievements, what we did, what we tried to do, what we wanted to do. And when we consider what we have accomplished, let's try not to let it get to our heads all that much. That's what Shabbat brings us. So we welcome Shabbat with song, with reflection, and with light by blessing the Shabbat candles. Page 3.
What about a little Yiddish Nefesh first?
Oh, that's a great idea. I like that idea better than mine. Thanks.
Page 10, Yiddish Nefesh. Yedit nefesh al varchaman, Yedit nefesh al varchaman, Mishulcha avdecha el ritzonecha, Mishulcha avdecha Yadadadai, el ritzonecha, Yorutz avdecha, kilmoyal, yishtachave, yadadai, el
A reading at the top of page 3. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'shivanu lehadlik ner shel
Shabbat Kiddush is on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodeshu b'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'masei v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrei kodesh זכר לציון מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדיש השבת.
Amen. Page 9. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We turn to page 20 for Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי ברך כל מיורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוחמוני עם סגולה, אמרי חלה בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Shalom Aleichem is on page 24.
Shalom Lechem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, Bochem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi, Malachi Elyon, Melech, Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Zeitchem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu.
Before we turn to the Kaddish on page 26, we'll recite an English reading on page 27. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'almani v'rachilotei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yom echon ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה בנחמתה דמירן מעלמה ואמרו Amen.
You're invited to rise for the Baruch Hu, page 28.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam evad.
Page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach sha'arim uvitvuna meshane itim umachalif et hazmanim Umesader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem, barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 32.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה. בעבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Evad.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Mi chamocha on page 40.
Mi chamocha ba'alim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norot eilut, osei fella, no מלכותך ראובנך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
The top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, va'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim.
Shamru b'nai Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשו אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Page 45. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Please rise if you wish for the tefillah.
Adonai, siftai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מחלקי לחיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Please be seated as we continue at the top of page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. It's time for a moment of modim, of expressing gratitude. Folks at home, you're welcome to place your thoughts in chat for others to see online. And here in the sanctuary, I'd like to begin by saying I'm so pleased to see that we have a minyan tonight. We have a ritual quorum, so that's neat. Yeah, it's really neat. So, if anybody, anything to share? Yeah, Stacy.
I'm grateful that my granddaughter slept over Sunday night, and Monday we went shopping, and I let her pick out clothing. She's 4.5.
Wow.
And she's very opinionated on what she likes, and she picked out 6 outfits, and I didn't care.
You didn't care. That sounds like normal, like life is getting back to normal.
And we went to Five Below and spent another $20.
All right, whatever. Yeah, it's your pleasure. Your pleasure. Anyone else here in the sanctuary? Yeah, Jay.
My buddies are doing pretty good.
Okay.
I'm getting used to it. Getting used to me. The other one used to be on the bed with me. The brother is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
They're eating a little bit better. And the family, thank God, is okay.
Fine. Thank you. Great.
Sons and grandchildren, 7 grandchildren.
Great. Very good. Very good. Very good. Sherry. Yeah.
I'm grateful that things are starting to come together here in the temple,
Yeah.
and we're getting ready for next year.
Yeah. It's really exciting to see that. Feels like we're racing to the finish and the start. June 30, July 1. We've got a long list of things that we're going to get to one way or the other. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad we're working together. So pleased how the year is progressing, and we're plenty challenged. Okay, so with prayers of gratitude and hopes for the week that comes, we offer a few moments of private prayer.
ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עושה שלום, שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום.
Offering hopes and prayers for those who are ill, injured, or seeking strength of spirit, we turn to the Mishibarak Prayer on page 253. If you're at home and you wish to include names in chat, please do so. Here from the Bema, we've been asked to include in our prayers Joan Sorgan, Dawn Sorgan, Whitney Klein, Nadine Miller, Ted Miller, Seth Miller, Danielle Miller, Samantha Miller, Jordan Miller, Sherry Copeland, Scott Copeland, Fred Rosenfeld, Deanne Rosenfeld, Jack Levitan, Isabella Lagamba, Robin Dunn, Ron Druckman, Moses Powell, Margaret Powell, Yvette La Rochelle, Roberta Klein, Richard Grossman, John DeVoe, Louis Allen, Audrey Hirsch, Barbara Kantrowitz, Stephen Nelson, Kathy Volpe, Marilyn Zaga, Michael Stewart, Abby Immediato, Gay Shama, Tony Kippelman, Jay Kaplan, Jen Rubin, Robbie Hoff, Mark Hoff, Taylor Hoff, Dan Cerulli, Welaine Cerulli, Letitia Cerulli, Fran Bem, Walter Bem, June Hess, Michelle Finley, Jay Hoffman, Dan and Lee Cerulli, Carl Lembo, Danny Rosillo, Moshe Ben Rosav, Uvaruch, Jim Cecile, Jean Kaplan, Loretta Umlis, Audrey Goodplan, Tessie Mikos, Blanche Tyson, Jeffrey Side, Monty Side, Sheldon Levy, Richard Galvin, Richie Galvin, Carrie Galvin, Matthew Kent, Donica Kent, Donna Long Moran, Christine Lerner, Ann Beckman, and Rita Zecker. If you have any other names to include, please mention them now.
John DeVoe, Linda Fortera.
Okay, thank you.
Kathy Goldsmith.
Thank you.
Kathy McBain, Sue Curtis, Alice Corman.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Mishibarak Prayer on page 253.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishibarak imotenu מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Imagine a person carrying the emotional weight of the world on their shoulders, and all of a sudden, the burden is lifted. That's what happens in this week's Torah portion, Shemini, as we receive instructions from God about the sin offering. A person walks into the tent of meeting with a ton of emotional baggage, offers a sacrifice, and walks out of the holy shrine clean and pure, all traces of the heartache gone. These opening chapters of Leviticus are all about sacrifices, and it's tempting to think that our portion has nothing to teach us. After all, we don't present burnt offerings anymore. No one came to temple tonight with a sacrificial bull or a lamb, I don't think. No, I don't see any. Maybe folks at home are logged in while keeping an eye on the steak on the grill, but that burnt offering is very different than the burnt offering, this holy barbecue here in Shemini. Yet the Torah's message of finding forgiveness through this sin offering has much to teach us today. So the tent of meeting in our portion is open for sacred work. The walls are up, the altar's in place, the priest's garments are made and ready to wear. And now, as God instructs the priests on the details of the ritual sacrifices, one sacrifice stands out for carrying a higher measure of sanctity, the guilt offering that atones for sin. The priest eats this offering inside the Holy of Holies, the most sacred area of the tent of meeting. Further, uneaten portions receive special care, as we read, "The priest shall turn them into smoke on the altar as an offering by fire to God. It is a guilt offering." A total burning contributes to the atonement. The sin of the sin offering literally goes up in smoke. As a result of this guilt offering and the full consumption by fire, the sin is no more. The relationship with God is fixed and life is good again. So imagine walking into the tent of meeting feeling distressed over a sin, and thanks to the sin offering ritual, the misdeed is consumed by fire and you walk away completely restored. Transgression gone. The upset that was before yields to relief, even uplift. Once again, you're at home with the world. The word afterglow speaks to the spiritual reset that follows such an intense sacred experience. An afterglow is a common after effect of the response of the Spirit. It's a spiritual, residual, internal shift that says, thanks to just what just happened here, my self-perception, or the way I look at the world, has changed. You can imagine a similar afterglow for Noah following the great flood. The rain ends, the water recedes, and a rainbow spans the sky as evidence of a renewed relationship with God. The era of sin and lawlessness is washed away, and the destruction is over as humanity continues and begins anew. There's another afterglow in the Torah, one for Jacob as he limps away from a night of angel wrestling. His hip is wrenched, but there's an afterglow in the knowledge that he confronted this night demon at the riverbank and he prevailed. Jacob is renamed Israel, the one who struggles with God. That's his afterglow. An afterglow is evidence that something spiritual just happened. Writes my favorite Jewish thinker, Martin Buber, a person does not pass from the moment of supreme meeting the same being as they entered it. Something happens. In other words, a person meets God, and thanks to what happens there, they walk away changed. The afterglow says that something happens. Something deep inside a person is different. The sin is up in smoke, and the person is renewed and restored. A lingering spiritual difference abides in the air. Something happens, and a new mood reigns. This spiritual reset, the bad memory going up in smoke, happened to me once many years ago, and something of that afterglow still is with me. It's no rare occasion and no secret that clergy, rabbis included, disagree with members of their communities over any number of things. And many years ago, a temple member and I stood on opposite sides over something to do with a kid's bat mitzvah. I don't remember any of the details, but I remember what happened not long after. I learned that this woman had serious surgery, so I headed from the temple in northern Westchester to see her in this specialized hospital in Manhattan. Well, between her medical ordeal and what happened between us before that, I expected an agitated conversation and that the visit wouldn't be easy. All I could feel as I got closer was worry about what would happen, and as much as I tried to calm myself down by clearing my mind of expectation and prejudgment, it didn't work, and I got more and more anxious as I reached the hospital, took the elevator up to the floor, and walked down the hall to see her. "Well," she shouted, "I am so happy to see you." Well, whatever happened between us was history. It was up in smoke. Between the time of our argument and the time of her surgery, she let go of it, which helped me do the same. We talked for some time, and when our conversation ended, I headed back to Temple with an afterglow of relief. Before our visit, merely thinking of her would upset me, and thanks to our time together at the hospital, her graciousness, our relationship was restored and my spirit renewed. She was in the hospital to be healed, and thanks to her grace, our time together had healed me. So we don't bring temple to temple animals anymore. Yet the lesson of the sin offering, the possibility that our wrongs can go up in smoke and life be renewed, still lives. And when something renewing happens, the afterglow you or I encounter is proof enough that life, when it is not going the way we want it, can be good again. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We're doing Omer.
Yeah. So we are in the period of counting the Omer. Started on the second night of Pesach. It's an interesting custom that we count days, right? And I often like to think about it not just as counting time, but as making time count. I think that's one of the lessons of the Omer, is that we really make our time count and pay attention. So I'd like to invite you to go to page 278. And we can say together in Hebrew, you can read it from the Hebrew side or the left side with a transliteration, the intention that begins this little ritual. Hineni mukhan umezuman lekayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat haomer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotov, v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Hayom shelosh esrei yom, shehem שבוע אחד ושישה ימים לעומר. Today is the 13th day, which is 1 week and 6 days of the Omer.
Great. We turn now to the Aleinu, page 282. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כאן, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו shemo echad.
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We extend our sympathies to those who mourn the recent deaths of Adam Ira Greenberg and Francisco Lamparte. And we name on their yard sites Eva Frudel Barchet, Rose Bernstein, Samuel Kamita Jr., Elizabeth Copeland, Rose Diamond, Nina Douglas, Benjamin Eisenstadt, Eli Finkelstein, Marion W. Finkelstein, Molly Friedman, Martha Goldstein, Aaron Hecht, Andrew Zane Jacobs, Louis Kessler, Henry Levy, Charles Mardenfield, Richard Stephen Millman, Rose Milstein, Ethel Nymark, David Posner, George J. Postal, Bertie Prussin, Etta Steiner Rosenberg, Belle M. Saperstone, Belle H. Sealfon, Ira Shapiro, Sarah Schur, Sadie F. Simon, Edward C. Tepperman, Louis Vinokur, Irving Wax, Harry Weinberg, Jack Weiss, Kate Weiss, and Edward Wolf. If you have any other names to include, please note them in chat or speak them now if you wish. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories each be for a blessing. We turn to page 294 and join in the words of the Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv, v'yimru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, itbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal, shemei d'kudisha, barich hu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma, v'yimru amen. Yahei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. And may the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say together, amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Well, thank you, Cantor Wolf, for joining us this Shabbat. We look forward to having you back real soon.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. Thank you, thank you. And thanks also to our tech folks, Liz Keenan, Thomas Burke, and Liv Musamechi, for your help getting word back to folks at home. Tomorrow morning we have Torah study at 9 a.m., Sunday morning religious school at 10 a.m., and Sunday afternoon on Zoom only, our Yom HaShoah community celebration. And I think, we have books here. We have a lot of books, and we've been culling our collection, getting ready for the new library. You're welcome to take some home if you're here tonight. If you're not here and you're by during the week, give us a call, and when the kids are not in the building, you can come by and get some books. There are plenty for kids, adults, young adults, fiction, fact, whatever you want. Okay. I think that's it. Liv.
I believe the Yom HaShoah service on Sunday is on YouTube, not Zoom.
Okay. It's on YouTube, not Zoom. Click the link. There was a corrected link that went out. Yeah, click the link. You should have gotten the correct link. Thanks, Liv.
And we're going to conclude our service on page 327 with Enk Eloheinu in Hebrew and Ladino. Enk Eloheinu, Enk Adonenu, Enk Malkeinu, Enk Moshienu. None como vuestro Dios, none como vuestro Señor, none como vuestro Rey, none como nuestro Salvador. Micha Eloheinu, Micha Adonenu, Micha Malkeinu, Micha Moshienu. ¿Quién como nuestro Dios? ¿Quién como nuestro Señor? ¿Quién como nuestro Rey? ¿Quién como nuestro Salvador? No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Lo haremos a nuestro Dios, lo haremos a nuestro Señor, lo haremos a nuestro Rey, lo haremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendicho nuestro Dios, bendicho nuestro Señor, bendicho nuestro Rey, bendicho nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tú sos nuestro Dios, tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.